You can feel it, man. Something big is coming. This isn't just another UFC fight. This is personal. Two men, one cage, and months of bad blood boiling under the surface. The first time they met, one walked out broken and the other walked out hunted. But now it's different. Now it's not about revenge, it's about redemption. This is where pride meets pain, and only one walks out with his soul intact. You know, there are fights, and then there are grudges that time just can't wash away. This one, it's got that smell of unfinished business all over it. When these two last met, it wasn't just a loss or a win, it was a statement. Merab came out like a storm, relentless, almost machine-like. He didn't just fight Petr Yan, he drowned him. Every second, every takedown, every push against the cage, it felt personal. And Yan, man, you could see it in his eyes. That frustration, that disbelief, a champion turned into prey. That's not something a fighter like Yan forgets easily. And now they're back. But this isn't the same Petr Yan who walked into that cage the first time. This one's got that silent anger, the kind that doesn't scream, it simmers. Has been sitting with that loss, replaying it over and over again. And for a guy built like him, calculated, proud, precise, that's torture, has not just coming to win this fight, has coming to erase a memory. But Merab is built different. Has the kind of guy who treats pain like fuel. You punch him once, hell, come back with 10 takedowns. He doesn't stop. He doesn't breathe. He just goes. And that's what makes this rematch so insane. It's not just skill versus skill anymore. It's ego versus obsession. It's about dominance. It's about who controls the chaos when the cage door closes. And when these two step in again, it's not going to be technical at first. It's going to be emotional. Because the moment that first punch lands, everything from that first fight comes rushing back. The crowd, the pressure, the noise, it all vanishes. Just two men, one score to settle, and that's when the real fight begins. Because now, it's not just who's better, it's whose style survives the fire. And that's where things start to get really interesting. You know what's wild about this matchup? It's the perfect example of that old saying, styles make fights. You've got two elite athletes who represent completely different philosophies of combat. Merab Dvalishvili fighting you in the traditional sense has dragging you into deep water. Has not trying to knock you out with one clean punch, he has trying to make you hate existing inside that cage. He breaks your rhythm, your lungs, your will. He doesn't give you a second to think. That's his weapon, chaos. The guy fights like cardio was injected straight into his DNA. You watch him, and it's like watching a tornado that just doesn't stop spinning. And then there is Petr Yan, man. The guy's like a human computer. Everything about him is precision. His footwork, his head movement, his timing, it's surgical. He's the kind of fighter who dissects you piece by piece until you make a mistake, and then he punishes you for it. When Yan's in his rhythm, you can almost hear it, that sharp rhythm of controlled violence. Where Merab throws volume, Yan throws intention. Every jab, every slip, every pivot, it all has purpose. And that's what makes this rematch so damn interesting. Because this time, both guys know each other. There are no surprises anymore. Just another matchup. It's a chapter in how these two will be remembered. For Merab, this is the fight that could finally carve his name into the stone. Hesab being the guy people call Aljo's teammate for years, always in someone else's shadow, always underestimated. But this is his chance to define himself, to become the guy, the face of the division. Has not chasing fame, has chasing validation. And that's far more dangerous. For Petr Yan, it's pure survival. The man was once the most feared striker at Bantamweight. He was a champion who fought with authority. But now, Hess on the edge, one more loss here, and he risks being labeled former champ who couldn't evolve. That's a hard pill to swallow for someone like him. This fight isn't about a belt anymore. It's about pride. It's about proving that he still belongs among killers. And the UFC knows this. That's why the stakes feel heavier than gold. Fans don't just see two fighters, they see two stories clashing head-on. One's writing his rise, the other's trying to rewrite his fall. It's like watching destiny collide. That's the energy that makes nights like this unforgettable. Because win or lose, both men walk out changed. For Merab, a victory means legacy. For Yan, a victory means redemption. But for the fans, it's witnessing a fight where everything's on the line. And maybe that's the real beauty of this sport. It's not about the lights or the belts or the money. It's about men who step in knowing they could lose everything and still walk forward anyway. That's courage. That's heart. That's legacy in motion. So what happens next? That's the question everyone's asking, right? Because no matter how much we break it down, no one really knows. That's what makes this sport the most unpredictable show on earth. You could study film, stats, fight IQ, and still be wrong in 10 seconds. Maybe Merab comes out and suffocates Yan again. Maybe Yan lands that clean counter left that puts the whole division on notice. Anything can happen. But the one thing that's certain is this: the bantamweight division has never felt more alive. It's chaos. You've got killers on every corner. O'Malley, Sandhagen, Umar, Cheeto. Everyone's hungry. Everyone's chasing the same dream. And right in the middle of that storm stand these two men fighting not just for a belt, but for control of the narrative. If Merab wins, it changes everything. Suddenly, there's a new alpha. The relentless pressure becomes the new standard. Fighters start studying his style, not avoiding it. If Yan wins, it's resurrection. The champion returns, the doubters go silent, and the legend starts breathing again. Either way, history moves forward. That's what I love about this. You're not just watching punches land. You're watching stories collide. You're watching two lives unfold in real time with no script, no safety net, no guarantees, just instinct, willpower, and truth. And when that first bell rings, all the talk disappears. It's pure silence until chaos takes over, because in the end, what fighting really is not about who's stronger or faster, but about who can keep their soul together when everything around them falls apart. And in this fight, both men have been there before. Both men know what it feels like to be broken, and both are desperate to never feel it again. That's why this isn't just a rematch, it's a reckoning. The kind of fight that shakes the whole division and reminds everyone why we fell in love with this sport in the first place.